one.
So just
you remember it. Oh, you got the problem.
Well, you would pretend you would put it on your phone.
Is it?
Oh,
What's
no,
this page?
fuck you, if you really did, Mary.
This is his questionnaire at the end, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the, okay, I'll tell you that
Well, that's
now.
when you say, well, I didn't bring my glasses.
That's part of her introduction.
And, I'm the carer and I help fill it out.
Okay,
And then you fill it out for it.
yeah, alright. Well, thanks everyone for coming. We'll start the meeting now. Seniors, Lake Adeligo Seniors Group monthly meeting, but we've come together to discuss particular issues to do with social media this month. You all have the agendas that I emailed out to you. Good. And I've also given you all a piece of paper there that you use to judge me on how well I'm communicating, and so check that out during the meeting, and if there's any ideas on how I could improve, let me know. Our first agenda item today is to share an example of how community services. First of all, I've been reminded to do apologies. Have we got any apologies?
There was Bill.
Bill?
Jill Biggs, I think,
Jill
and John
Biggs.
Black.
Okay, yes. Apologies for both of those. And everyone else is present.
They had a wedding. They did.
Excellent. So I've today we're looking at, as a result, looking at social media because the board of directors have suggested that we investigate that as part of our seniors group communication plan. Now, social media is very popular, taking off even more than they ever thought it would. A lot of young people are changing into different facets of social media. So Facebook's been left as the area for seniors.
So the older people.
Older people,
yeah.
So most older people use Facebook these days.
You call seniors.
Seniors,
Yeah.
yes. And that's a great way of providing information about your organisation to the clients and to try and get new clients, to also let people know what's happening. So it's very easy to use, and you can put lots of photos on and show people what our events have been like and really prove that we've been a bit of a success in the local community.
So do all phones have Facebook on, or only the new phones?
So all smartphones, so all the new ones that are connected to the internet,
Okay.
and most people have them these days. Now, John, you mentioned before the meeting that you haven't had any idea about Facebook or how to use it?
Right.
No?
Do you know anything about it at all?
No.
No?
So
I'll show you on the iPad in a moment when we have a break. I'll show you on the iPad exactly how you can look at a site and what you can see, and so you can have a look and a bit of an idea of how useful it could be. Now, one of the examples that I'm going to show you is community transport, how they use it. They've been using it, they put their timetable on for their weekly events and when they're going to West Wyalong or when they're going to Griffith, and when they're having their special events like the recent trip to Hay. They also use it to put job ads. They advertise Angie's job to be covered in while she's on long service leave.
oh, okay.
And they put photos on about their functions, and they've had their Christmas function, their volunteer events, and their last trip to Hay. So that's sort of an example of how it can be used.
Yeah, well, we use it for the Lake Drama Group,
Mm-hmm.
and the Lower Lachlan Community Services have one too. And we have one for our family called Hey Gleeso, which we just for family only, and we share new babies and wedding invitations and anything that happens, old photos from Anzac Day.
And it's a good way to get the information to people, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah, yeah, and also we don't, I have a large family, so I've probably, I don't know, I've probably got 80 or 90 cousins, first cousins, and their families, and you don't have all the phone numbers of them. So yeah, but we all get the news, and it's connected our family. And the Lower Lachlan Community Services one, it connects with the local community, it provides events, and disperses information out to all those people who can use Facebook.
Right. And that, I know on the Facebook, they have what's happening in town. You know, what's that one called?
Yeah, they have the Lake of Jellicoe
Yeah,
buy, swap and sell, Lake of Jellicoe notice board.
yeah,
I was on there this
and if
morning.
a dog's lost or something, they
Yeah.
put it on.
Yeah.
Have you seen the community transport site?
No, I haven't seen that. Never. I don't know how you get on. How do you get onto these sites if
Don't know they exist.
you don't know that there? I didn't know there was actually one here.
Yeah, well, see, that's a good point too, because we'd have to make sure that we let everyone know about our Facebook page. So, in order to do that, I could write some articles for the paper, or we could put our Facebook address onto our advertising or onto any posters, so that people can find out about us.
Yeah. Then you know to look it up.
To look it up.
Yeah.
And you could have a post on the Lake of Jellicoe notice board site,
Yes,
and possibly the Lachlan Shire.
site as
Well,
well.
Yeah, so they can have
Yeah.
links to for other community groups than did. Yeah.
Great idea. Add those in. Lachlan Shire and Community Notice Board. And small children entering meeting.
You can target it too, can't you, to particular demographics?
Yeah, and that's the really good thing about Facebook advertising. It can, for a very small amount of cost, you can get to a specific audience. So we could put an ad on that said, say, aimed for anyone over 55, within a 50-kilometre range of Lake of Jellicoe. So get a perfectly targeted group. So,
So we think that we know it. We know enough now. We've gone through enough of an intro to say that yes, we can probably do something about Facebook because it's
Well, other
We know
organisations
it's
are
good, yeah.
using it, and if we know that the majority of the seniors out there now are using it, like you said, and the younger ones aren't. And didn't you say, or I read somewhere that there was the statistics on it look, I hadn't realised that there was an 80% growth in use of Facebook by people over 55.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe we should, as a group, consider your proposal, because most of the older people now are using it, so we might be in the minority, and if we want to be successful, we need to be out there with them.
I suppose you could, like you said, you could make a start by using community transport and the other local groups as a
so we'll
jumping
look
template.
at. So what we can do now is, I think we're in a position to move on to the second agenda point, which actually discusses how we can use it.
Yeah.
So this is where we can pop in all of our ideas. So firstly, I would suggest that we can emulate in some way, follow what the community transport group does. And
You already mentioned the cross promotion,
yeah, and hopefully we could link to their site as well, maybe, and as you said, on council sites.
Yeah, we just have to check that the sites we connect with have similar governance rules and regulations to ours, that we don't have conflicts, or they don't have conflicts with us linking.
Yes, so we'll establish our policy, and then we'll have to work out if we fit in with everyone else's policy of communications and how we can link and benefit from them. I like the way that the community transport site's set up. They have a lovely big colourful banner on the top of the page, and they have their, as I'll show you shortly, and they have their phone number in it, and they have Aboriginal handprints on there, which sort of shows that you have diverse clients and all different sorts of people, especially here in Lake of Jellicoe with Murray Ridge using
I
a lot
think
of
there's
our
about
services.
15% or 18% Aboriginal in Lake Jellicoe, but we'd have to get permission that's if Aboriginal permission to put an Aboriginal style painted
Hanging,
hang
okay.
because they own their culture.
And that would be good. And, you know, it might be also a way of having more links with the Aboriginal community and getting them involved in our seniors group. Maybe they might be interested in coming up with the design for our page.
Yeah.
Well, the men's shed, there's a couple of Aboriginal people go to the men's shed, and I noticed they've got they're quite cluey on their phones. They're really good. They probably can use Facebook, and they might be able to show us what to do.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, that's good.
I noticed Craig Cronlin was speaking at United Nations the other day.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
He's a local Aboriginal person.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
we've got good contacts.
Mm.
Good lord.
Oh, he's an amazing,
Yeah.
a great speaker and a great promoter for the Aboriginal people.
Yeah, well, that is.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get us off track.
Oh, that's all right. We'll talk more about that in the break.
Yeah.
So some more examples that I saw of ways to use the site. The Queensland Seniors Group, they have videos on there as well as just photos. So they show their group activities. They talk about being a senior and what life's like. They have advertisements for health and exercise, information on elder abuse, and links to other organisations such as Carers Australia. They talk about grants that are available and tennis tournaments and other social activities that seniors might be interested in. So there's lots of ways that they make use of it that we might be able to follow as well.
So it'd be good, like, source of information, so you don't have to go to 20 different Facebook sites to find out information. We could actually
Be
getting a lot of
help.
information.
Yeah, would hopefully be a
Yeah. Because it can take
hard to
time
find,
when you
isn't
go on to Facebook or on the internet, but you think you're only going to be 15 minutes or 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
you look at the clock and suddenly, you know,
2
it's
hours
2 hours
gone.
later. Yeah.
yes.
It's like a whole
So-
life, isn't it?
I think I know someone who does that.
Yeah.
Sits
So
there
you
for
could-
hours on Facebook.
Is that you, John?
No, that's Margaret.
Well, we all do it, I think.
At night,
Yeah, I think
just
it'd be
at
a good
night
way
while they
to,
watch, while you're watching football, you mean?
And then we can get into that 2 hours time frame. If we can put our information on there, showcase what we can do, and
Yeah.
put out good stories of what other people have done as well.
Yeah.
And didn't you I was thinking like how that we get all these caravanners and seniors coming, visit, you know, with they coming here a lot for holidays and passing through. There's some way they could get onto the seniors. Is that the grey nomads or something? Do they have a site you could?
Yeah, well, see, we could target them as a group as well. You know, in that advertising I was talking about, we can put in caravanning as one of the interests, and you could target those people. So we would be able to aim at them, and
Put an ad on that as well for grey nomads.
yeah, and maybe we could, you know, use some of their. Were you talking about that earlier?
Expertise.
Using some of their expertise.
Yes, yeah. If they could come and maybe do some talks or join in our groups, something like that. Yeah.
So
Well,
they
well.
could come and
Yeah,
provide
I think
They
information.
love that because I work
provide
at the
information
Tourist
for
Bureau and
us.
they come in and they're all full of talk and what they want to do and often they stay for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you never know what backgrounds they're from that they
Yeah.
might,
Yeah.
and as well as talk about their travels, they could talk about their
Adds to all the community, and
Yeah.
their
it brings
activities.
Well,
people
social
from all
media is
around,
introduced as a form of networking, and it allows like-minded people to form groups.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we could use it to bring seniors together and the grey nomads and help reduce the social isolation, which is a big problem for older people, especially here in a rural area. We've got no public transport, and a lot of older people have mobility issues.
Well, they do. Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just can't get out of the house, I suppose, and
Yeah.
that sort of thing. You got to pick them up, but yeah, no, that'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
it would be
Yeah,
great.
get them all.
I think
more
it's a
connected.
good idea to keep to help them stay connected,
Yeah.
and so maybe we can look at ideas for that. Anyone?
Well, I think it would be very beneficial, maybe it warrants its own working party to come back with ideas on how we can go about it. I'm happy to move that in the meeting, that we form a working party to investigate ideas on how we go about using social media to network and allow like-minded people like grey nomads.
Yep.
Okay.
form groups.
Yeah, well, if you move it, I'll second it.
Seconded,
Yeah, excellent.
Emma, okay. And on the working party, we'll have then you two and Margaret, would you like to be on that working party too?
Might link in with your
Oh, all right, I'll go on the working party because I can be there and make sure you do something to help us people like Neil and me who aren't good at it.
Maybe John and Neil could too, because
Okay,
they have different perspectives to us.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I
okay.
mean, yeah.
We might call dispute and just have
Well, that's what
disagreement.
we need to know, what the problems might be. 'Cause we have
I can create a discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we could use it
Alright.
as a way of surveying the community.
Mm-hmm.
And
There's
then
apparently Facebook pages that pose questions, get many more posts and feedback than those which don't. So we could use it as a way of engaging people.
Yeah.
And for gathering information on what activities or services people would like to see introduced and which ones aren't so popular or useful.
yeah.
Great idea. Really
And
good.
maybe, like if Neil and John are on the working party, you'd actually could have your Facebook there and show them, and like they'd be having goes at it,
Learning
looking at it, and
about
seeing people that is reluctant see, oh well, yeah, that's interesting. I can see that and do that.
yeah. Well, people need help with a lot of things.
And a lot of
Could
people, like
they
when
reach
I
out and get help?
when I got my phone, I didn't realise that my phone could do. I thought only my iPad could do it. I didn't realise my
Yeah.
phone could do Facebook and all that. I just sort of, I don't even text or rang, just like Neil. That's all I'd ever done on my phone.
Well, it depends on your plan. So
Yeah.
you've obviously got it on your phone. I only use a phone.
Yes, which, well,
Yeah.
that's another problem, isn't it?
That's a
If you
safe.
don't, out here, there's certain places that don't have.
Yeah, well, sometimes I don't have
Receipt.
connectivity. I don't have any bars at all.
Yeah,
So you might be. That's why I don't use it to bank unless I go into the bank itself.
yeah.
Because I can
halfway
be in the
through.
middle of it,
Yeah.
and then all the
The goes.
It goes.
Yes,
So-
It's a
I-
handicap, isn't
yeah.
it?
it's
Yeah.
unreliable,
And,
and it's scary if you don't know. If you're in the middle of banking, you
yeah.
don't know where
Which
your
one
information's
Yeah.
going.
No.
It can be scary.
So,
And I think, I think you, Neil, are might be a little bit nervous about Facebook.
Well, I've heard a fair bit about this Facebook. I'm not right up into it or anything, but what about people like me that can't use Facebook? Other people, what happens to them? How are they going to be taught to use
well,
it?
maybe the seniors group could do that to help you with it.
Yeah.
But there may always be a divide, a gap between the people who use it and people who don't. But this group could teach you how to use it. I mean, it's like, do we all want to go back to candles like we've had for the last 2 nights?
Yes.
And then we're
Like
sitting
that.
there thinking of all our, grandparents knitting in candlelight and the benefit of electricity now that people use. Or, it's just a technological development that I think that people will have to start using, given that, you get penalised now if you don't use electronic forms to pay your bills, like $3 extra to go to the post office and pay your telephone bill.
It is a bit unfair, isn't it? It's like they're
It's
discriminating.
discrimination.
It is.
Well, even
Yes, but
I
I've
think Neil was gonna say
heard a lot
something.
of bad things about Facebook. If it's not used correctly, it can be hurtful to other people, and it's
You always hear about bullying and people being
Yeah.
upset. Yeah.
Yep, and that is a good point, and there are pros and cons about Facebook, but that will actually come up in the next point, if we can just sort of leave it there for now, and we'll move on and talk about the pros and cons in the next point.
Maybe it could be also investigated by the working group, those issues, and the monitoring of it.
Yeah.
How we can
house,
prevent
yeah.
dramas from, or nasty things, comments from being put on there.
yeah.
Like an
Yeah.
email message could be
And
Well, I suppose if people are using it as a crutch, or if they don't know that it's just a community group, we can't solve their problems, or we can't fix up all the government issues or anything like that. We just have to, you know, say.
yeah, we can't
Sure.
be everything to everyone, but we can look at what we are capable of and how we can help people.
And monitoring.
And when it comes to any of those nasty comments, what happens is an email can get set up to be sent straight to my phone or whoever's monitoring the site, and so we will be able to see straight away and cut it out. Yep. we can delete it.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be a good part of the investigation by the working group.
Working party. Yep, excellent. So we've got some good conclusions and some ideas about what we can do there. We're going to explore ways to engage people. We're going to investigate how to help people.
Yep.
We're going to look at stopping or taking down any nasty comments and how to deal with that. So following on from that pretty closely is the looking at the third agenda point is the pros and cons of using social media, and in our case Facebook. So
Well,
here we go.
Neil's already brought up the fact that people don't use it sometimes, and some might not know how to use it.
So
I suppose it's.
I haven't got a clue how to use it. How about you, John?
No, don't know the first thing about it.
No.
So that is a con. That's one of the points against social media, is that not everyone knows how to use it. But as Margaret suggested earlier, we can remedy that by having some classes talking about and showing people how to use social media.
When you miss out, if you don't learn how.
And
Well, we miss out if we don't learn how.
well, everyone won't miss. I mean, we will teach people, but people who still don't have access to Facebook, we're not going to leave them out there with nothing. We're still going to continue on with our letters to clients and members.
And normal articles
Articles,
and stuff.
Yep, articles and the ads and the posters and all the normal. So we'll be doing a bit of both.
So what's the point?
We need
So what's
encouragement.
Sorry.
We need encouragement.
Yes, so we'll give you plenty of encouragement. And what was that, Neil?
So what's the point in doing it?
So, well, that's a good point as well. It does sound like what's the point if we're still doing what we used to do, but it's moving with the times. It's using the methods that we have at our disposal. It's something that's a lot more immediate than before. People can answer straight away if we ask them a question, but also it's much cheaper in the long run. So our advertising and our printing and all the rest of it costs money, whereas Facebook can be practically free. So once we've got past showing everyone how to use it,
We get a lot more people, and you've got the younger seniors in, older seniors who still use the letters, the younger seniors who don't quite know they're seniors yet.
yeah,
Still, might find it interesting enough.
Yeah.
That, that's a really good idea. We
And
can
it's similar
broaden our
to
base.
the candle scenario, or chopping wood for your fuel stove all summer, or having electricity. It's a technological jump.
Oh, right.
And also,
We'll make it easier.
yeah, I think it is, but I think also that a lot of things now, when you, even with the government, they say, you know, they want to send you an email, or they want to, and they say, we won't send it by post anymore, it comes on your email, and you have to actually request, you have to actually say, I want it to come in the post, because they're just automatically doing everything, and that's all the government services.
Yeah.
And even like the electricity bill, if you have it sent by email, you get 3% more off your account.
Yeah. There's
So-
a lot of that
Yeah,
sort of
that's
discrimination around.
Yeah,
It's
so
also
discrimination,
something
I
that people
think.
should know about too.
Yeah.
The community group should raise that sort of thing as well.
well,
And it's not just electricity.
yeah,
Really,
it's everything. I mean, and even those sort of things you you know, like once you learn Facebook, I suppose then hopefully some people might even don't say, all right, we'll send it on email or I don't know, but
Become a bit
It's
more
the-
used to the
yeah.
technology.
It's the way it's going. I mean, the other thing with older people is if everything's got to be done electronically now and on a keyboard with your fingers, and I'm thinking of arthritis here,
yeah,
and eyes and people
Yeah.
with disabilities of various sorts.
it's hard.
But you know, it's hard. I can't sit for very long in one
No.
spot,
Mm.
so I'm just thinking of myself, and then other people with arthritis and stuff. There's going to be long-term consequences to the whole population
Sitting down. But
for sitting down on
Yeah.
a computer or using your thumb as a keyboard.
Yeah,
And that is going, and whether that's going to make it worse for older people, I don't know. But it is a future thing that's going to happen. It'll be a health
And
issue there.
There is, and you know, I mean, years ago we had to go through ergonomics and learning
Yeah.
how to sit properly
Yeah.
at computers and all the rest of it.
RSI and-
Well, now I think they even have a thing called texter's neck.
Yeah.
And it's from always looking down like this at the phone. So there's going to be a whole new set of health guidelines when it, coming out and to do with all of that as well. And I mean, that's something we need to
Put on our
learn.
site.
That's basically it.
Exactly.
So
good
it's like
idea.
your site's actually contributing to it, but we're also going to help it.
Yeah.
So we can, I mean, you know, there can be exercises
Yeah,
and you
that's
can
right.
remind people,
Yeah.
you know, every 10 minutes give the neck a whirl or whatever.
Terrorists.
And
Christchurch massacre and
Oh,
terrorists.
wow.
What you mean?
Don't terrorists use Facebook to spread hate?
Don't terrorists use Facebook for
Hate.
the hate
Christchurch
and
massacre.
that sort of stuff?
that is another downside of Facebook is that people have freedom of speech and a lot of them do put in some of their views like that with the Christchurch massacre that go too far. And luckily we have laws that can help us and the big companies have started to take more responsibility.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we'll have a lot of problem with terrorist type comments on our site, but there's always the possibility of something being said.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's one of the things I was just thinking then, you know, it's all right to have a Facebook site that, like ours, say that's a closed group, the Hey Gleeso one, or, you know, the ones that there's actually an administrator who puts you on there. But I was just thinking about the grey nomads, because they're from all over Australia. You know, so
You
you
don't know
do
who's
get
coming
an
in, yeah.
international, a global thing into your website, whether you want that for your Lake Angelico seniors community thing or not. So maybe when we have a working page, we need to sort of
Look into that.
look at that a bit more.
Yeah.
Because like when I was just thinking of that, you know, like
Yeah.
suddenly you're a global, you're not just a little site
Yeah.
on the, you know, that's specific to our community seniors group.
We might be letting in birdwatchers and caravanners, but who knows what sort of things they might also have linked to their site.
So we'll
That's
keep
one
up
of the
with
things.
it's something we'll look into on whether any of these other groups have had problems in that area
Yeah.
and how we can control it and
To monitor it.
and
It's a good
yeah.
point, Neil. That is a good
And
point.
and will we also have a warning or something on our page set up on the page at the big top or beginning that
Yes.
Oh, the social media.
Yes.
policy,
yeah, on our web.
So we will have a policy, and what we'll do is hopefully put something at the top of the page which says, you know, any posts on this site should be polite and
Yeah.
no comments against the organisation or its employees or its volunteers.
Actually that
Be taken
that
down,
is
yeah.
neighbourhood that Lake Angelico Notice Board has one right at the top, doesn't it?
Yeah,
On
I
that,
think so,
yeah.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. Mm.
So yeah, we'll come up with the right wording in our policy.
Yeah.
Working group can look at other examples and things as well. Yeah.
And I think we've just about covered. So we've looked at a lot of the advantages, and I'll just read a couple of them. So we know we can put what we like as in terms of text or images or videos. It can be accessed any time of the day by people. We can set up a way of monitoring how many times people look at it. what sort of things they react to, so we can do some statistics.
Monitoring and evaluation.
Evaluation,
Yeah.
that's it. It's free.
It's
we can-
free for the group, but it's not necessarily free for the users because they have to have a
download,
plan and they have to have a smartphone.
Well,
But
that's,
anyway,
that's,
these are your conclusions.
that's
We
true.
can investigate that
That's
later.
true. You can actually set up posts that you can put on a future date, so you can set things
Yeah.
to say a reminder about an event or
Oh,
something
yeah.
that's coming up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's quite
Yeah,
clever if,
that-
if you're going to spend a part-time job where you're only working Monday, Tuesday, set it all up ready, and then you don't have to go back to it.
That's right,
Mm.
yes. And there are more than 13 million Australians on Facebook, believe it or
Wow.
not. You know, we can engage people fairly immediately and fairly intimately.
Might be 30 million and two if we could do it.
That's exactly right.
13 million, yeah, 13 million and two, okay. We hopefully can help decrease social
Have a crowd.
isolation. We can promote our organisation and seek feedback. We can promote events. We can show the positive results of what we've done and our events. We can delete any bad comments that come along. It's fairly easy to use, and it could be a way of reaching new volunteers or new resources. On the downside, we can't control everything people say. There
Could be nasty comments about the organisation or
Yes.
volunteers or
could
workers.
be. Not every senior has a smartphone or an iPad, as we found today with our members. Not everyone knows how to use Facebook. And in the short term, we'll have to spend a little bit of money to promote the fact that we have it, but yeah, hopefully that will
Yeah,
cancel
long
out.
run. Yeah.
But there might be an ongoing cost to keep running it and maintaining it, I suppose.
Only in terms of
Advertising.
personnel, and the advertising is, any advertising we decide to do is really reasonable.
Yeah.
I was quite amazed at how cheap it is compared to newspapers, which are very dear.
Yeah, their ads are dear.
Very dear,
Yeah.
yes.
And yes, and with promoting and doing things, like seeing pictures of what you're doing, you know, that's what you like to look at, isn't it? It's the
Yeah, that's
pictures.
The whole point of bringing
Yeah.
people together and supporting them.
Mm.
And another con is that we still have to produce newsletters and advertise in the paper and all those sorts of things for the people who still don't use it, because there will always be a minority that won't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though the statistics are telling us
Yeah,
that,
but you have to
you
cater
know,
for those people.
have to
anyway.
cater for those people, and there's people for whatever reason, security or isolation or whatever, that will never use it.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
we still have to incorporate that level
We have to
of
keep it
information
going.
into our communication
So we're
plan.
doing a bit of both, but
Yeah.
at least we're moving with the times,
That's right.
and hopefully, like different as more seniors join, the younger seniors will know more. Like the group will change as
Oh,
we
yeah.
get older. The ones that all come in, probably in the end, they'll all be doing it.
It'll be different.
That's right.
It'll
Yeah.
all be as soon as you hit your
Yeah.
front door, something
Yeah.
will flash up and
Yeah.
it'll be different. It won't be smartphones then, it'll be something else.
Oh, amazing.
So I reckon someone should move a motion that we create the
Well, all the things that go with it, so creating a plan.
creation of a social media
Yeah.
policy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Embracing the Facebook
Mm.
into our Lake Jelligo Community Seniors Group.
Yep.
Communication plan.
Yeah, well, you
You moved,
Move it on.
Carmel,
I'll second it.
seconded Emma, and then
we'll add that to the other action items that you've read.
Yeah.
that we've already
Yeah.
created. Yeah, so
Yeah,
we've
sounds
got a
good.
plan to move forward. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at what we can include on there, what sort of photos. We're going to look at incorporating the Aboriginal community in coming up with a design. Look at, find out from Community Transport if they've had any dramas with theirs that could help us in preventing those from occurring with us.
Yeah.
And the course, of course,
Yes.
to help people learn how to use it.
Well, we need to have some sort of deadline, some sort of date, otherwise we'll be forever doing it. So we probably need a deadline to meet.
Yeah, well, put all that in
For a
the action
workshop.
items. Minutes come out, put them in the action items, and then we have the date for the working group, and maybe the time,
Yeah,
length
we
of
need
time.
to decide on it.
Well, I
Between
think
hours,
that
yeah, they can
we,
do it.
well, we can have
What day
see what we can
suits
come
people?
up with in a month before the next meeting, which would be the 28th of May, and by then we'll bring back what we've got in terms of policy and ideas to put on, and how we can move forward from there.
Sounds good.
Great.
Sounds
Well,
good.
thanks everyone for coming.
Excellent.
Don't forget the evaluation sheet on
yes,
how I
yes.
could improve my communication techniques. And yes, it's been great discussion. Everyone has provided worthwhile input. And
And at the end of the meeting, you'll show anyone who wants to, at the end of this meeting, what Facebook looks like John and Neil and I would have a look.
yes,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
got the
We'll have a look at this
examples
website,
of the
yeah.
two sites on the,
Yeah,
on the
when the
iPad,
meeting-
and we'll
Anyone
have
who
a
wants
look
to
at that.
go, who knows, can go, but the ones who don't can have
Can
a little
stay.
look. Yeah, we might even have another cup of tea
Great.
with it.
All right, we'll do
good.
that. Thank you very much. Meeting is now closed.
Adjourned.
Let's hope it all recorded.
Oh, I hope so. Maybe not.
Don't say it. 36 minutes.